From the moment I held my newborn in my arms, a wave of emotions washed over me. The reality of motherhood hit me hard, a rush of love so profound it felt as if my heart had expanded to encompass the entire universe. Yet, alongside that joy, an undercurrent of uncertainty and fear began to swirl. I had stepped into a world where the stakes were immeasurable, where every decision felt monumental, and where my heart now walked outside of my body. This journey, with all its highs and lows, would become the most transformative experience of my life. In those early weeks, I found myself in a relentless battle with sleep. I knew sleep deprivation was part of the motherhood package, but nothing could prepare me for the sheer exhaustion that enveloped me like a thick fall of fog. Nights blurred into days, and I often wondered how something so small could command so much of my energy. The baby would wake every couple of hours, and I would stumble to the nursery, bleary-eyed and disoriented, my mind racing with thoughts of all the things I hadn't done and all the things I needed to do. I quickly learned that sleep was no longer a given. It was a luxury, a fleeting dream that danced just out of reach. In those moments of desperation, I discovered the power of asking for help. I had always prided myself on my independence, believing I could handle anything life threw at me. But motherhood shattered that illusion. I began to lean on my family and friends, inviting them into my chaotic world. A kind neighbor offered to watch the baby while I took a much-needed nap, and my mother would come over to cook meals that I could freeze for later. It was in those small gestures that I found solace. I learned that establishing routines, bedtime rituals, feeding schedules, could create a semblance of order in the beautiful chaos. These routines became my anchors, grounding me amidst the storm of sleepless nights and endless diaper changes. Yet, as I navigated the early days of motherhood, another emotion crept in: guilt. The insidious guilt that whispered in my ear, "You're not doing enough." I found myself constantly questioning my choices, haunted by the pressure to be the perfect mom. I would scroll through social media, bombarded by images of other mothers who seemed to have it all together: perfectly styled hair, immaculate homes, and children who were always smiling. It was a curated version of reality, and I often felt like I was falling short. But as I wrestled with this guilt, I began to understand its roots. It stemmed from love, a fierce, protective love that wanted the best for my children. I realized that this guilt was a reflection of my desire to be a good mother, but it was also a heavy burden that I didn't need to carry alone. Embracing imperfection became my mantra. I learned to prioritize self-care, understanding that taking time for myself wasn't selfish, it was essential. I started small, carving out moments in my day for a hot cup of tea, a few pages of a book, or a walk around the block. These small acts of self-care not only rejuvenated me, but also allowed me to return to my children with a clearer mind and a fuller heart. As I continued my journey, I became acutely aware of the impact of social media on my perception of motherhood. The constant comparison was draining. I had to remind myself that those perfect images did not tell the full story. Behind every curated post was a unique journey filled with struggles, laughter, and tears. I decided to step back from the screen and focus on my own experiences, recognizing that true connection with other mothers came from genuine, honest interactions rather than online facades. I began to share my own realities, the messy moments, the days when I felt like I was barely holding it together. In doing so, I found a community of mothers who were navigating similar struggles, and together we created a space of support and understanding. The journey of embracing imperfection was not easy. I had initially believed that motherhood had to be perfectly orchestrated, my home orderly, my children well-behaved, and myself perpetually cheerful. But reality struck hard, and I soon learned that chaos is often part and parcel of parenting. Toys were strewn across the living room. Dinner was sometimes a haphazard assembly of whatever I could find in the fridge, and my patience was tested daily. Accepting imperfection allowed me to create moments of learning and growth, rather than striving for unattainable ideals. I began to cherish the messy moments, the flour-covered kitchen during a baking session with my kids, the spontaneous dance parties in the living room, and the laughter that echoed through our home. These were the moments that defined our family, and they were beautiful in their chaos. Amidst the challenges, there was a profound reward that overshadowed all the difficulties: unconditional love. The love I felt for my children was unlike anything I had ever experienced. It was raw, fierce, and unwavering. Those simple, heartfelt moments, their laughter, their first words, the way they looked at me with trust and adoration, reminded me why it was all worth it. The warmth of their hugs could melt away the most exhausting days, and their joy became my greatest motivation. I learned that love is not just a feeling, it's an action, a commitment to show up for my children every day, even when it's hard. As my children grew, I found that motherhood was not just about nurturing them, it was also about my own personal growth. Each stage of their development brought new challenges and lessons that reshaped my perspective. I learned patience when they tested boundaries, resilience when faced with setbacks, and empathy when they experienced their own struggles. I began to see our relationship as a mutual journey, both mother and child evolving together. The lessons they taught me often mirrored the lessons I tried to impart to them, reinforcing our bond and deepening our understanding of one another. Through the ups and downs, I discovered that being a mother is not just a role. It's a journey filled with endless opportunities for growth and learning. Each day unfolds new lessons, small victories, and sometimes stumbles that teach us valuable insights. I learned to celebrate the small wins, getting through a tough day, finding time for a moment of self-care, or simply sharing a laugh with my children. These moments became my reminders that even in the chaos, there is beauty, and even in the struggles, there is strength. As I reflect on my parenting journey, I am filled with gratitude for the lessons I have learned. Motherhood has transformed me in ways I never anticipated. It has taught me patience, resilience, and the importance of community. It has shown me the power of vulnerability and the beauty of imperfection. I have come to understand that being a mother is not about perfection. It's about connection, love, and the willingness to grow alongside my children. If you find yourself resonating with my journey, I invite you to share your own stories. Together, we can support each other through the beautiful chaos of motherhood. Let's celebrate our victories and lean on one another during the challenging times. In this shared experience, we can find strength, understanding, and the reassurance that we are not alone. Motherhood is a journey, one that we navigate together, and through our stories, we can create a tapestry of connection that honors the complexity and beauty of this extraordinary role.